Hello, music fans. Welcome to the Red Chair Review. I am Fred Whitaker Jr., and I have the new Foo Fighters review ready for you. I hope you're excited, but I'm excited because I'm hoping you will like and subscribe and comment. I'm really trying to get some traction on this YouTube thing going on. I love reviewing albums, and I'm just hoping more of you will check it out and give me some response. I'm looking for feedback. But anyway, here we go. It's time for the Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters are one of the most famous rock bands in the world. They've shown staying power. They've got Dave Grohl, of course, maybe the last American rock star. I love Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl, born in Warren, Ohio. I am a high school teacher in Warren, Ohio. My name is Fred, 4 letters. His name is Dave, 4 letters. He's a drummer. I'm a drummer. Amazing. And that is where the similarities end, because he is rich and famous and has many albums under his belt and is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I worked at Sears before I started teaching high school 20 years ago. Anyway, I'm very excited to talk about this new album by the Foo Fighters, Medicine at Midnight. Of course, the Foo Fighters also have an excellent drummer besides Dave Grohl, who is their actual drummer, Taylor Hawkins. They have Pat Smear, who has been in bands since 1943. I swear to God, this man looks like he's 41, but he's got to be 93 by now. But Pat Smear is amazing, just a legend in the rock world. And then we have the other 3 dudes who all look like guys who might have loaded my lumber at Home Depot. But it's a great band. They've been playing a long time. I do enjoy a lot of their music. I thought the last 2 albums, Concrete and Gold, and the Sonic Highways thing, which was kind of a soundtrack, I thought they were rather disappointing. I did think Wasting Light, the 2011 album, was excellent. I think most people lean on their first album as being their best. I actually think their best album is One by One. I've always loved that album and I revisit it all the time. So, where does Medicine at Midnight stack up? Well, let's find out. I was able to snag my copy of Medicine at Midnight at my local record store, The Record Connection. This is an indie store exclusive, so I'm excited to have it. And it came with a free Slipknot. Can you believe it? I cannot wait to read it. Damn it. It came with a free slip mat. I'm really excited about this slip mat. I also like Slipknot, but slip mats are cool. The word I keep hearing when I hear this album, and people are talking about it as it was getting ready to come out, and they were releasing teaser tracks, is danceable. This is going to be a danceable record. They're trying to make something danceable, which maybe in a pandemic, we need something danceable. They're trying to kind of expand, and after this is their 10th album, you've got to expand a little bit. Every musician should do that, I would hope. And so the group's trying to expand a little bit. I did see them live a few years ago in Cleveland with my wife. I was lucky to be right in the front row, right in front of Dave Grohl there. Didn't have earplugs on, and my eardrums turned to butter. No, my ears exploded, and they fell out. The eardrums fell out, and I still haven't heard a word since. But I don't tell a lot of people that story because losing your hearing at a Foo Fighters concert, just not that cool. Like if you lost your hearing at like a Cannibal Corpse show, that's pretty awesome. Not so much at the Foo Fighters. It's like that dude I knew. I told him I quit going in the pit because I was at a corrosion and conformity show years and years ago, and a crowd surfer kicked me in the eyeball and my eyes were bleeding. That's kind of a cool end of pitting story. Buddy I know told me that his pitting days ended when he fell over in the 311 pit. No, see, that's just not as cool. That's just not as cool to quit pitting because of 311. Making a Fire, the first track, is a good album starter. It's got a nice danceable beat. It's got the danceable drum beat. It goes from a 4/4 to a 2/4 alternating to start. A very strange juxtaposition of measures for Foo Fighters, who are often a 4/4 band, sometimes a 6/8 band, but they do a lot of 4/4 stuff. This goes 4/4 into 2/4 back and forth. The most catchy na-na-nas you're going to hear this side of Jay Giles' centerfold, so I like that part. But the rest of the song just doesn't do much for me. It's kind of a mid-paced tune. I could see them playing this live for a while, but I don't think this song is going to be a song they're going to keep around in their live catalog for many, many years by any means. It is catchy at times, somewhat memorable, not a great album starter, but I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to incorporate some danceable elements. The second track I got to hear on Saturday Night Live several weeks ago, Shame, Shame. It kind of does this. Bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. And that's about it. It does it for like 4 minutes. I mean, there's some changes. The chorus is cool. It's kind of got this oh thing going on. There's no real lyrics to that part for me. I just don't love this song. It really kind of soured me to the album right away because I was like, if this is what they're going to do, it doesn't really go anywhere. And most of the Foo Fighters songs, in my opinion, seem to go somewhere. And this one does not really do that. It's got a vibe. A few of the songs on this album have a vibe, but a vibe does not make a song. And so I think Shame, Shame is an interesting one to lead off when they start releasing some of the singles, and it just doesn't do much for me. Third song, Cloud Spotter. Third danceable track. Danceable. I was listening to it when I was walking around in public. I'm not dancing to it, but I just don't know. There's just this song, all first three songs just feel kind of mediocre to me. They don't have a hook that really snags you. They don't have that trademark kind of like Foo Fighters aggression that comes out every once in a while that really kind of keeps it. And it definitely doesn't have the melodic and memorable choruses that stick with you for a long time, I don't think. The only thing that's really memorable in these is the backing vocal sometimes. He's got some kind of angelic backing vocals, often done by females, that are very solid. Song 4, Waiting on a War, finally. Here we have a Foo Fighters track. This is a song, and it's not danceable. And I'm cool with them doing danceable if it's memorable and danceable. This song is not necessarily danceable, but it's good. This is a Foo Fighters song like it's been playing years down the road. Waiting on a War has solid lyrics, great guitar performances, vocal performance is great. Everything about the performance is solid, and the end of the song is a rager. So I really think that's good too. It kicks up the pace. I've been waiting for that this entire album, and finally at the end of song 4, we get one of those parts that's like, yeah! Like, you know what I'm saying. Medicine at Midnight is the title track. Got some nice, like, little mini cowbell work going on. But that's about all that I really get from it. There is a pretty nice guitar solo there, about 3/4 of the way through the song, which I enjoy. But the song itself just, once again, doesn't snag me. I've listened to it several times, and it just doesn't do much for me. It feels like it's got, like, the framework of a song that could be good, but it just needed a little more time. And I know this album's been delayed many times, and maybe they were just tired of revisiting that material, and it was just time to record it and get it out there and do its thing, but it doesn't do much for me. The 6th track, the first one on side B of this album, is called No Son of Mine. It's a rocker. It's not as much of a danceable song. There's some nice tom patterns going on in the chorus that makes it kind of danceable and funky at times, but for the most part, it's a straightforward rocker. Once again, not much for me to hold on to here. I just don't feel that there's a lot of, just something musically is not here for many of these songs. It just doesn't sit in my head. I know I've only given it a few multiple listens today, but usually I'm walking around singing these songs. I'm singing at least a few of them, and this one doesn't have many of those, and that makes me a little nervous as far as the staying power of this album. Holding Poison has some moments. In particular, almost 3 minutes into the song, they pull the Black Sabbath. You know what the Black Sabbath is, right? Where the song stops and they do this dun 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 dun. They do that thing, the swingy, yeah, like that's the Black Sabbath. The new Rob Zombie track actually does the Black Sabbath as well, ending the song with kind of a swingy, heavier part, which I really like. So this does that. Holding Poison has that part, but it doesn't have much else before it that really makes you want to come back to it. It's just that end part that's pretty solid. The next song is called Chasing Birds. I saw a little teaser for it yesterday online. It had this animation, this like acid trippy animation with hands holding birds, and it was all psychedelic. And I was like, man, I like that. But I think I just kind of like the animation. The song's good. The animation's better. The song's good. It's beautiful. It sticks with you. It's the second best song on this album behind Waiting on a War. If you're going to hear 2 songs in the future live performances of the Foo Fighters years down the road from this album that people are going to go back to, it's Waiting on a War and Chasing Birds. Those are the 2 songs that I think are pretty solid on this album and carry it from being, a failure of epic proportions. I love those 2 songs. And then the last song is called Love Dies Young, kind of a mid-paced jam. Dave Grohl delivers a wonderful vocal performance. In fact, I think the last 2 songs on this album are his best vocal performances overall on this album, maybe his best since Wasting Light. It upsets me a little bit that this album has this color scheme because Wasting Light also has this color scheme, and Wasting Light's a really good album. And this one, for me, not so much. I think that Wasting Light was their last great album, and that's been 10 years ago. I also think that Dear Rosemary is their last great song, and that was 10 years ago. I do like God Is My Witness from the Sonic Highways album, but there's just not much that the Foo Fighters have done recently to really hook me onto their new stuff. I like that they're experimenting. I like that they're trying some danceable stuff and they're trying some different things sonically, but it's got to be interesting and it's got to be engaging. If you're going to do it, if it's going to be the Foo Fighters, it's got to keep you wanting to revisit it. And this just doesn't do that for me. Overall score for this, I'm going to give this a 75% out of 100. The most average score I could think about because it really is an average Foo Fighters album. It's not a bad album. You can listen to it a couple times and probably enjoy some sections and a few tracks. Like I said, Waiting on a War, Chasing Birds, those songs are sticking around for this band, in my opinion. But the rest of the stuff is going to just kind of fall into that mediocre spot where many of the things the band has been doing lately. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please feel free to comment, share, subscribe, like, just interact. Tell me what you think. I'm very willing to listen to differing opinions. I'm definitely not always right. I want to hear some differing opinions. So please, or tell me what I'm right about. I like to hear that stuff too, you know. Tell me I'm right. I'm cool with that. So that's all I got for you guys. Once again, Medicine at Midnight by the Foo Fighters. So. If you disagree, that's cool, because that's just like my opinion, man.